Let's go. Episode 10 of Gushing Over Magical Girls. Not only do we get the big reveal for Kiwi that she does have hidden powers. I was actually thinking that she was going to be awakening to powers, but no, hidden powers. Just turns full like Ilya mode with the cat girl thing. But yes, additionally, some nice Yuri action. I am not against the Loco Leber Yuri action. That was quite spicy. And yes, very much so an extension from what the manga does. The manga's very brief with that whole thing, but again, the studio's kind of taking action to increase things. But anyways, yes, decent episode as per usual. I'm not so much happy about the quality of the episode itself, but again, that seems par for the course. That seems like the quality we're probably going to get for the rest of the series. I was even more bummed out the idea that a lot of the more spicier shots are starting to have quality issues as well. But again, I need to get over it. At this point, I just need to get over it. It's just not going to be a stellar looking show, which was not really expected. But the episode itself, getting out of the usual, getting into the episode itself, fantastic episode. Like I said, kind of opening up with this whole Yuri situation with Loco and Leber, which, yeah, I was kind of expecting that to be the case, that Magia was not too happy with them, so she has to punish them. It was kind of interesting that they pointed out that Utena actually built a padded box, a padded dollhouse, in order to actually capture them in it. Specifically saying that she put her own magic into it, thus she didn't have to have Leopard nearby. Now, it does technically imply they're nearby later on. I think they're nearby. But yes, she's using her own power along with Alice's in order to do that, which I don't know if they're ever going to get into that whole thing. That the idea of mixing powers is typically like a mechanic in itself, and it just kind of casually drops it. Like, yeah, I use my own magic, so thus it's there. Which I guess it does make sense because Magia, Baiser, her whole thing is using her whip and her power in order to make things a reality or make it come to life. So I guess she technically could use that power with the dollhouses that Alice has in order to control it herself. But that aside, yes, putting him inside the padded room and telling them that she's going to wipe away their sins. And in order to do that, they have to become friends. That's what she wants them to do. Which turns into them, yes, kind of uprooting their core issues. It seems like from Loco Musica's side, she never acknowledged how important she was to Nema. Nema Leber Bloom, she always kind of took for granted what she was doing. It kind of turns that whole thing where Loco Musica is essentially a tsundere that doesn't realize what's important around her. She's always oblivious to it, but in the end sort of acknowledges it. Like, she doesn't want to admit it. It didn't really make it clear, which is kind of very surface level character development there, but definitely from Leber Bloom's side, it's heartbreaking. The idea that, yes, she was alone at first. At some point, Matama showed up and wanted her to listen to her music. Immediately says it sucks. But she's always been at her side. This is this person that kind of confronted me when I was alone and wanted to share something with me, and thus kind of grew a bond with her over time, again, presenting her with people to listen to her because she didn't want to see her cry. But yes, that wasn't enough. Magia Baiser is like, that's not enough. You've made up, you've kissed. She had him kiss. Oh, you're friends now. Okay, kiss then. That's what you really want to do. I think it's one of those things where Baiser kind of acknowledges that the two of them is absolutely tsundere to each other. Like, she acknowledges what everybody else does. Oh, these two just love each other. They just don't want to admit it. The two of them are being like conflicting. So, essentially, what it's kind of a nice thing there is it's almost like a play into the trope and the idea that most viewers see the two of them as being tsundere to each other, and Baiser's being the viewer that's able to control them and say, just kiss already. It's literally all of us watching last episode is like, just kiss already. And then literally Baiser goes, kiss already. She gets to play the puppeteer as the viewer to play into those tropes. And it'll be really funny if in the future they actually play into that more, because that's really what it's doing there. It's forcing them to have that interaction and clear things up rather than always it being a wishy-washy will they, won't they. And yes, even going so far as to say, okay, I want you to do more than that. You don't think that's going to get away with just that. My name is Magia Baiser, and I like this stuff. So do more. And sure enough, they do it. Again, it kind of plays into that thing where these two were thirsty for each other already. So it's just kind of like, even though Loco sort of plays a little bit of the tsundere still, like, I wouldn't do this if it weren't for the fact, if it was anybody else, I would never be caught dead doing it. It's her basically saying, I want to do it, but I'm going to say that normally I wouldn't. But because misdirection, I don't want to directly say it, we do it. So they go out. And like I said, compared to the manga, the whole scene with them connecting was much more spicier in the anime. And again, that's kind of similar to a lot of situations they've had before where the studio likes to expand on it quite a bit, either to pad the time or to just make it more spicier than it originally was. But it was spicy. Again, despite the fact that the transitions and everything were kind of rough, it got its point across. It was still super spicy, and Yuri love is welcome love. All the fans, Yuri love is welcome love. It was good. It was really good. I really enjoyed that whole bit. But yeah, outside of that, we had a little brief moment where we get a little bit of an inclination of Vena's disappointment in Leopard. Now, here's the interesting thing, because yes, they revealed here recently that there is a star system, which was interesting because when Magia Baiser first confronted Loco, Musica, and Leber, Musica said something to the effect of, why are you joining us? She says, well, because you guys are weak. You're never going to beat Enorme. You need us. And why you need us is because you have a 0-star in Leopard. Alice is a 3-star, but her power is, you can't rely on it. It's too unstable. And then with you're a 2-star. Now, that was the interesting thing, because what I was kind of hinting at in the previous episode was when they did that reveal, I was obviously jumping right on the fact that Utena her eyes are stars. And whenever she gets excited, they always emphasize them to kind of imply they are stars themselves. They're not just her eyes. Everybody else, they don't have that. So I assume that she was at least, when not crazy, at least a 4-star. But Loco is pointing out that that's actually 2-star. Just the ones on her cheeks, not her eyes. So that's the curious thing. I guess that kind of implies that maybe her eyes aren't actually a number count there. I assume that she was 4 normally, just like Enorme. So yeah, saying basically 0-star, 3-star, you're a 2-star. And yes, Vena later on is pointing out to Leopard, yeah, you're kind of weak. Your strength is a problem here. You need to figure out what you're going to do. Essentially, you need to get stronger. Now, I'm curious if Vena knew at that point that she is, in fact, a 3-star. That was kind of the curious question that I had. And it seems to... my assumption this whole time was that Leopard was going to have an awakening. At some point, she's going to discover... We talked about this quite a bit in our podcast. If you didn't watch it this week, we had a spoiler chat where we talked about specifically this show, additionally to other shows. And the theory that I was giving there is the idea that each one of these... Yes, the magical girls and the villains, they're all using the power of Vena and Vots. The assumption is, like most magical girls like this, it's all the same power. It's just they're using it differently. Magical girls are using it over here. They're making their weapons and everything. They're just not awakened yet. So they might actually have stars. We just don't know. But on the villain side of it, yes, they all get assigned to stars. And additionally, that their star count is going to be based on their kind of feeding into some sort of desire. That's the secret to everybody's power. Magical girls and the villains. It's always going to be based on desire. Magia Baiser has actually figured it out. The other villains have not figured it out. Enorme got her 4 stars and she's sticking with it. And yes, Loco has 3 stars, she's sticking with it. Sister has 3 stars, she's sticking with it. They all have their star count and they're not doing anything with it. Whereas Baiser has figured out how to feed into a desire to get herself stronger. And I figured everybody's going to do that, including Leopard. She's a 0-star, and then she'll figure out her desire, she'll feed in that desire, and she'll get stronger. But no, it doesn't seem like that's the case. It seems like she's always been 3-star. It's just similar to like Sulfur. It's an ability that she never used, or she doesn't ever want to use. So similar to Sulfur, which is kind of funny because essentially Kiwi and Kuroko / Leopard and Sulfur, they're kind of so similar in their kind of nastiness and their rudeness. And so it's kind of funny that both of them are doing the same thing. Sulfur never wanted to reveal her real power, and Leopard never wanted to reveal her real power. Which is funny because I was like, okay, is there going to be stars somewhere hidden? Or is it going to be an awakening? It was stars hidden. And I had to go way back to that first meeting with Baiser and Leopard. I'm like, I thought she lost all of her clothes, so I wonder if you can see the stars. Sure enough, she had like this part still left, so they had the whole under thing going on. So yeah, they technically never. And maybe there's another shot somewhere else that may have showed it. I know that whenever they transform, sometimes it shows the stars, but I think they probably purposely didn't show it. But yeah, she's been hiding it the whole time. So I'll be curious why she's been hiding it. Is it similar to Sulfur, where she never wanted to look like that, which is kind of a bummer because it's super good looking. I like the whole cat girl shred kind of look with the big paws and everything like that. It's super cute. Like I said, it's very, very Prisma Ilya-esque, but yeah, they have the fight later on. Enorme's clones are showing up. It, again, kind of notes the idea that it's very similar to Baiser. Baiser's able to use her whip to create these monsters. It seems like Enorme is able to create minions as well. It does seem like, unlike with Baiser, Enorme is constantly supplying them with magic, so they can kind of regenerate themselves and keep going. So they have to take down Enorme. So yes, Baiser goes off to fight Enorme, which I thought was great. Yeah, they first show up and they're getting beat down. Then suddenly, Loco shows up, tells them how it works. Why did you tell us that earlier? Because I was locked in a box. And yes, Leopard basically says, I'll handle Gigant. You go. And yes, have that nice little final stand with Leopard versus Gigant. I like that they had that little brief moment where Alice comes up, tugs on Leopard's clothing, skirt, whatever, shirt, and has that little brief moment of like that concern. Because again, I was saying before with the whole thing with them facing off against Loco, with how Leopard is so kind of childish and always nagging at Kurisu every 2 moments, it kind of get that sense of that brattiness that just kind of conflicts with innocence. And it's, again, showing another sign that Alice does like Leopard, wants her to be safe. So it was a cute little moment there. But yes, goes off along with Gigant and eventually, yes, points out, you're a 0 star. You can't beat me. Why even trying? And then she reveals, yeah, you guys keep talking about the power levels. And she's like, let's get started. We just got started. But yes, pointing out, nobody else is nearby. We're far enough away. Now I can do this. Again, kind of indicating the idea that Leopard doesn't like other people seeing her like that, which is curious. So I'll be interested to see maybe if they expand more on, is it an aspect of embarrassment? Is it an aspect of it she thinks it looks ugly? Because Leopard's thing has always been, or Kiwi's thing has always been about being the cutest. And I can see from most perspectives that something like this, a form like this, won't be seen as cute. Even though, yes, technically it's less cute to see some person that creates massive cannons that fire and throw grenades and stuff like that. That's not cute either, but I don't know, maybe it's a difference there. But we'll see in the coming episodes if they kind of expand on that and figure out exactly what's going on there. But yes, additionally, we had a little brief moment with the other magical girls. They're all kind of ganging up on Azul in order to help her push herself. We'll see if that does anything. It seems like they're taking their time, kind of continuously showing them and showing how much Azul's trying very desperately to get stronger. And it just doesn't seem to be working out, but they're pushing it. And they're also implying this idea that they don't have much time. Like there's going to be some sort of battle coming up. Maybe they know that all the other magical girls are being taken out, and thus they're going to be more needed now than ever before. Obviously acknowledging that Baiser's beating the crap out of them. Maybe they know that Enorme has come back. All that stuff is kind of lifting up there. I was kind of curious if they were actually going to show Vots show up again and say, yeah, they have a massive fight going on. They'll probably mention that in the next episode. But yeah, overall, really solid episode. Nice reveal for Leopard. I was super pumped. I was like, when I seen that form, I was like, yes, let's go, girl. Let's go. It's going to be cool. I'm sure that Baiser's going to really like that form. That's the funny thing. Like, she's been hiding it. And it's like, that Baiser would probably love that kitty cat form. But we'll see how that plays out. Some side notes. Yes, I love the whole bit with Leopard. Apparently, she was forced to have to put together the Gunpla. She's immediately screamed, why the hell they sell these things in a million pieces? Why wouldn't you put it together and then sell it? It's like, yes, technically everybody that doesn't know, I mean, it's a Lego thing as well. It's like, yeah, technically there's a thing about building it yourself. And yes, Gunpla people, they love building it themselves. That way they can paint it themselves and put it together exactly how they want it and make it solid or make it very flexible. It doesn't make sense to outsiders, but like Leopard. But yeah, technically that's how it works. Why would you do that? But I guess, yes, to a person that likes figurines, it doesn't make much sense, even though there is some figurines out there that you have to build. But it was kind of funny, the idea that, yes, it looks like, in fact, Alice has essentially forced her to have to put it together for her. So she's over there. When she complains, she's over there like, poof. Like, yeah, exactly. You made me. You were gonna make me have to put it together. Anyhow, that's my thoughts on episode 10 of Gushing Over Magical Girls. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. As always, if you did, make sure that like button down below and comment. Let me know what's thought of the episode. Additionally, if you're new to the channel, make sure that subscribe button's got my content. Add news, reviews, first impressions, top list if it's anime, it's premature. Additionally, if you like this content and you want to support channel more, at Patreon link, tips, links, super thanks, membership button below. Greatly appreciate what it does. And y'all take care.